There are thousands of these abandoned across the UK. Many of them are not on any maps, and some of them, it's believed, are still yet to be rediscovered. Any guesses what they are? It's kind of a tricky one. They started cropping up around the UK in the Roman times, and there's a good chance, if you're in the UK right now, you might have passed nearby to one in the last few weeks. You may have even seen one. They're called lime kilns, and at various times in history, they've been built all over the place, and a lot of them just left there, genuinely thousands of them. So we're going to find out why today, what were they used for, why are they all still here, and we're going to have a look at one really close up and see how it worked. We're going to head up the hill a little bit later on in this video as well to find out what is that. We might as well have a look while we're here. So come along and let's see what we can find. So the first question most of you probably have is, what is a lime kiln? Well, we can guess a little bit from the name. They're basically huge ovens, massive furnaces, and inside them we would put things like limestone, anything that contained calcium carbonate. Other options include eggshells and oyster shells, but there's not too many of those around here in North Yorkshire. And the whole purpose behind this was to produce something called quicklime. And long story short, this could be used to create something called mortar, the squishy stuff you put between bricks if you're building stone structures, for example. There are other things you can do with this quicklime as well. Land fertilization, the most other common use. This we're going to come back to very soon, by the way. This is kind of the end of the process. So we got a bit of a picture of what they do, what they were built for. But why are there so many of them? And why were they just left here in such massive numbers? Well, one interesting thing about lime kilns is they were typically built as temporary structures. So let's say you needed some mortar. You had a project going on, you're building yourself a castle, or a religious building like a church, and you need one or more lime kilns. Well, you'd build them specifically for that project. So you follow through with the project, you've got your castle built, it's looking amazing, congratulations, you've got a castle. And job done, you don't need the lime kilns anymore. So you either demolish them, fill them in if it's a certain type of lime kiln, or you just abandon them. And it seems like many of them were just abandoned. And that's why there are so many still left. We don't know exactly how many. These weren't taxable structures historically, so they didn't have to be recorded, which is one reason why it's very difficult to get an exact number of how many there are and to find out exactly where they are. They're not always on maps for this same reason. In recent years, there have been more studies done to try and fill in some of these blanks and figure out just how many of them there are and where they are as well. And that's how we know that in North Yorkshire, where we are today, there are well over 1,000, I think over 1,500. But there are still some gaps in the research. Some of these remain unmapped. And some of them probably still undiscovered because they might be underneath hills underground. Now this particular one is called Toft Gate Lime Kiln. We're in Nidderdale in North Yorkshire, but the reason I chose this one today is because it's pretty big and it's very well preserved. There were many others I could have stopped off at on the drive here, to be honest, but they're not quite as sizable as this. Now this is also a more recent, a more modern lime kiln. This was built in the 19th century. So it was built to serve the needs of Victorian England, producing quicklime to help create the mortar for the buildings and construction and for the fertilization of the local land. And I guess that's probably why it's still standing in such good condition, relatively speaking, of course. So how did it work though? How was it used? Let's see if we can piece together a little bit of the process, because there were different types of these kilns. Step one here would have been to collect limestone. So there'd have been a team of people collecting the stone and bringing it over to the kiln. The second job would be breaking those stones and rocks down. So they need to be roughly palm and fist sized. So there'd be another set of people here breaking the stones down into more sizable, manageable chunks, Often adults doing this job, but it's very likely that children were involved as well. This was Victorian England, of course. Now after that, that's where things started to heat up. Let's see if we can see inside here. I do have my torch if we need it. So this is the actual kiln. This is where the fire would have been. So some of these, let me get my torch on as well. Some of these kilns would have taken days to heat up. The temperatures needed to be in excess of 800 degrees Celsius. So very, very hot. So the base down there would have been packed out with coal, heated to these extreme temperatures. And then the rest of the kiln would have been fed from the top. This is where the limestone would have been dropped in from up here, filled up with all this limestone, and then essentially left to bake. And you'll notice all these other chutes around here. I think, I'm actually not sure, let's check the board in a minute, but I think these are the coal chutes. So throughout the process, coal would need to be shoveled continually into the kiln to keep the temperatures up. And somewhere down there, we'll see if we can find it, would have been space where somebody could rake out the resulting materials, the quicklime that would have fallen to the bottom. Let's see if we can get a closer look. So maybe this was one of the coal chutes. It seems likely, I think. What else can we see? Oh, there's another one here. This seems like it. Because I think I read that there was 7 coal chutes. There's 2 there. This is kind of weird. Now you might be thinking, well, maybe these are just for ventilation. But this furnace did have a flue to draw the fumes away from the fire. So everything's sealed up. We will be able to go up to the top in a moment. It's kind of tricky to tell, actually. Let's have a little look at the board. So, oh yeah. So these are the small windows we were looking through just then. So that's where the coal would have been shoveled in. This is the quicklime being raked out. So I guess that back route at the back side, that's where that would have happened. And you can see here we've got a steam-powered crane that would have been on the top here, hauling up the limestone to then drop into the top of the furnace. Let's go and have a look at that in a second. Now, more often than not, if you do happen to be looking for lime kilns near you, which if you're interested, it's worth a check, there might be some, but they won't often be this big. More than likely, you might see a couple of archways kind of emerging out of a hilltop. They may still be fully intact, you could walk inside them. I mean, check first, because some of them are dangerous. But you might also just see kind of the top edge of an archway sticking out of a hill. And there is a chance that could be a mine entrance instead. You never know around here. But there's a good chance it's going to be a lime kiln. Now, the story goes that back in the day when this was still active, locals commuting between the 2 nearby towns would stop off here as a bit of a midway point, and they'd sit around by the kiln, just kind of using the heat radiating off it because it was that warm. So this is where we walked past on the way in. You may well have pieced this process together by now. So this is the flue that would drag out all the fumes, the CO2 that was being extracted as part of this process, and spit it out of that chimney. Ooh. So this is the flue. So we're kind of tracing the steps in reverse of where all these toxic gases would have been drawn from. And then through there, we'll be on the other side in a moment, is the hole in the top of the kiln where all the stone would have been placed. No matter where you go, there's always some rubbish. Let's get that bagged up. Okay. So you're getting the the POV experience of toxic fumes and CO2 right now. Now the rest of the tunnel's not in the best condition, but it's pretty long. I think it's about 70 meters. So it goes quite far. So that's where the flue goes. And then just over there, where those metal pegs are coming up, there is a big circular hole in the ground. And that's where the crane would have fed in the limestone to the top of the kiln. So what would happen is they'd pack it full of limestone and then they'd seal the top. All the fumes would be drawn out through here, flying out of that chimney. And then over time, the limestone in there would be what we call calcined, eventually leaving us with quicklime or calcium oxide. Let's go take a closer look at the chimney. Kind of tempted to just walk all the way through the flue up to the chimney, but I think it's blocked off. So it's all totally crumbled at the far end there. Massive pieces of stone. These are huge. Yeah, I'm sure it's not technically safe in there. That's my disclaimer. Do not climb in there. And here's the remains. So this bit is totally destroyed. I wonder if that was intentional. This is where it would have ended. So this, I guess, has been filled in now. It's not very tall. I do wonder if this used to be taller, or if that's all it was. That's one thing I'm not too sure about. Okay, that's probably enough about lime kilns. If you have any more questions though, or you know something else, let us know in the comments as always. Next up, we're going to investigate a bit of a mystery. I know vaguely what this is, but I've never been here before, and it looks kind of weird from here. So let's go and find out, see what's up there. It is such a perfect day today. It's only 10 to 11 in the morning, but it's already t-shirt temperature. That's pretty good going for Yorkshire. So yeah, I think this is just, they call it a sculpture. And looking at the size of it, like the whole thing is the sculpture. It's making me think I need to go and revisit the definition of sculpture. Because I thought they were just like smaller things. And it sits right on the top of a still active quarry just over this hill. So it sounds like kind of a random location for it at first. I guess they have a lot of people coming to visit the kiln anyway. And this is just a very popular area for walkers' families, because there's just so many places to walk around here. And it's really beautiful, as you can see. So we're in an area called Nidderdale in North Yorkshire. I don't know too much about Nidderdale, but a lot of the stories I've been researching recently come back to this area. So we're definitely going to be here again at some point. Oops. Now I'm looking for a place to deposit a book. If you've been on this channel before, you might know that not so long ago, I did a video about phone boxes, and I left a gift for somebody, whoever wanted it, a brand new book in one of the library boxes. And very recently, I did a new video in collaboration with the Thackeray Museum of Medicine in Leeds, and I picked up a really interesting book there. I haven't even read it myself, but I wanted to find somewhere, either today or in an upcoming video, somewhere safe I can leave it for one of you to hopefully find. The only problem is finding somewhere that's not overly exposed to the weather. A little bit of stonework carved by the local community. We are nearly here. I want to throw out another massive thank you, by the way, to everyone supporting these videos recently, everyone watching right now. All of that makes it, I got distracted, all of that makes it possible for me to keep making these trips. This is now part of my job, which is incredible. So to everybody who's been watching, sharing, liking, sending feedback as well, and to all the members who are contributing to the funding of these videos, thank you so much. Hopefully I can bring you many more of these, visiting some weird remote places as always, and some unique one-off collabs too. Sorry about that, very easily distracted sometimes. This was what caught my eye. The Coldstones, oh it is pluralized, the Coldstones Cut. That is a deep carving, wow. That's like the entire length of my hand. How do you do that? What kind of tools do you need to carve stone so deep? Not sure whose signature that is. 2010, maybe we can find out. Oh, they got lights along the side as well. It's kind of setting some expectations for a big reveal. Okay, we got left or right. I kind of just want to go straight forward. Let's come back to these though. It's drawing me in. I kind of feel like I'm about to see the sea. I know that's not true though. Ooh. That is surprisingly satisfying to look at. Obviously we can't go in here. That would be cool though. If anyone watching happens to be working here or working in a quarry, I have no idea how they work and I'm kind of interested. Maybe we can set that up. Day in the life of a quarry. Ooh, we got some very dirty signage. I should have brought some water. Could have cleaned all these. There's no mention of a connection to the kiln. The kiln was running from, I think, 1860. I don't know when it stopped though. Let's drop him a little donation. Okay, let's go and check out one of these side passageways. It's actually quite long. Ooh, some information about plants, birds, bats. I guess these are all local wildlife. Red grouse, chickweed wintergreen, purging flax. So in that spiral, there's the disc with all the plants and the wildlife. I was about to leave, but there are two spirals. Is the same thing in the other one, or is it something different? We need to find out, I think. What do you think it's going to be? I'm going to be really gutted if it's the same thing. Could be, I don't know. I actually don't know what else it could be. I'm thinking it's going to be the same now. Here we go. It's, oh. It's like a huge compass with a load of locations on. Buenos Aires, 11,210.6 kilometers. Okay, I could show you the whole thing, but it would take take a long time. Northeast, Ulaanbaatar, don't know where that is. Pick Hill, Helsinki, 1,737.5 kilometers. Ooh, Yorke's Folly, 3 kilometers. It's not far away. And finally, well, not finally, there's a few more, but there are so many on here. Buckingham Palace, 307 kilometers that way. 160 degrees southeast from here. I was going to end the video here, but Yorke's Folly, 3 kilometers away. That's not far. Let's do it. Let's add one more stop to the adventure. Don't know what to expect, but let's find out. Okay, here we go. Yorke's Folly, here we come. I really hope it's good. Interesting. Really fancy an ice cream too. Okay, so we are going to need a short drive. Oop. I haven't got 1.5 hours free for a walk, unfortunately. So let's hop in the car for a minute and then make our way over there. All right, let's go. Yorke's Folly. If this turns out to be a massive anticlimax, by the way, I mean, I hope it doesn't. I really hope it doesn't. Who can I even blame? I don't want to take responsibility. As beautiful as these roads are, they're not my favourite to drive on. Oh, there's a phone box. Is it a library? No. Oh. We have to keep looking for a book spot. In case you're not from the UK and you're wondering, like, how are these roads so narrow? How do you use them? Well, every so often you'll see just a widening in the road, and these are called passing points. So if you do come head to head with somebody, one of you is going to be reversing, is the long and short of it. Oh, There we go. Good example. I think we're here. I don't know if you can see this, but all over the top of my car and everywhere in the air are these weird flying bugs. They are all over the place, honestly. I don't know what's going on. Here it is. That's an old sign. One of those flying things just landed on my head. I felt it. What are they? Why is there so many of them? I don't know if they're too small to see on camera, but they are like everywhere. Is this place cursed? There's a dark history here at Yorke's Folly. If there's no information board there, I might have to do a little bit of Googling. You might have noticed on the sign it was spelt Y-O-R-K-E. Just in case anybody was thinking, well, it's named after the place, Yorke. Could still be, I guess. Ugh. What is going on? Oh my God. They're all landing on me. It looks pretty big, actually. Ah. Is it an old archway? So if this was a folly, that means it didn't have any practical purpose. We've seen a few follies on this channel by now. I bumped into a very friendly family just then. Hello, if you happen to find this video. And they were telling me that this originally had 3 of these standing, but it was built to already look ruinous at the time, which is kind of unusual. We can see the archways curving in on actually both sides. And it does kind of look a little bit like a window pane. So maybe that's what it was built to kind of replicate. And it is such an amazing like frame of the countryside. Very well placed bench as well. So if you do come here, you can sit there, look through the ruined archway or window, whatever it was, and just kind of look at this incredible scenery. Just watch out for all the flying bugs. There's not so many right here, actually. Now, one last thing I'm thinking. Could we hide that book here? There's some little sort of holes and stuff. But would it get picked up by somebody else? I think I'm going to do it. I'm going to take a gamble. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. This is the book, A History of Delusions. So I picked this up in the Thackeray Museum of Medicine's gift shop. They had so many good books in there. I was so tempted to read this. It's been sat on my desk all week, but I haven't. I've kept it pristine. So what I'm going to do, instead of just place it in there, I'm going to wrap it in this bag. Because I think if it's wrapped up, somebody will be less likely to take it if they just happen to see it. Because it looks a little bit weird. It's clearly something rather than just a piece of rubbish. There is a risk someone else will pick it up, but we'll see. So April 10th, this is going in here. If you happen to be somewhere that is not so far from here, you can come along and hopefully grab this. This is where it's going to be. So this is probably some bad camera work. So it's in there, over, tucked in to the left-hand side. It's pretty obvious to see, so I am a little worried somebody will take it, but it's clearly got something in it. So fingers crossed, one of you can get hold of it. The last book that I placed in the telephone box video went the same day. So let's see what happens to this one. If you do manage to get hold of it, let us know in the comments. We'll do plenty more giveaways as well. I'm kind of picking up books and things every time I go and film collaboration videos or any of the locations where I can pick up something like that. And I think that pretty much concludes our adventure, our investigations today. Still a little bit of mystery surrounding this folly, but I'm sure between us all, with a bit more Googling, we can kind of piece the story together. So I'm handing that one over to you. Thank you so much for watching today. Hope you've enjoyed the video, the lime kiln story, Coldstones Cut. Thank you again for supporting the videos and making these trips possible. Watching and subscribing is a huge help, and becoming a member is an even bigger help when it comes to funding these bigger, more expansive trips and these collaborations. So thank you so much to everyone who's recently become a member. Now, I don't know where we're going next time, but I'm sure it's going to be somewhere completely unique, very different and interesting. So fingers crossed I'll see you there.